All right. Welcome to the
Rugrats podcast.
Rugrats podcast, and this is episode 24.
Let's go.
We've made it so far.
Yeah, we so far, so far, and we did it because it's something we love to do.
Yeah.
We like the podcasting,
Yeah.
and although lately it's actually been weirdly difficult for us to get down and sit down and
I
actually
know. I
record
don't
the
know why.
podcasts, even though we've had a lot more time. Good that we're back here and something we like to pursue.
Yeah.
So what will we be talking about today?
Well, I mean, I think today's episode could be more of just like a conversation type and catch up with our lives.
Yeah.
Just like kind of like whatever comes off the top of our mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, you were talking about Elon Musk and who else?
Brian Johnson.
Brian Johnson, and how they're so admirable about
Yeah.
like them actually pursuing a mission instead of trying to
Mm-hmm.
get money, you know?
Yeah. So
You want to elaborate about
yeah,
that?
so my thought process on that is I've heard a lot of people kind of talk trash about Brian Johnson, saying it's like weird.
I know, I have too. I find that so admirable that he's like actually putting his life to something useful, you know?
Yeah, because the thing is, he realized he could keep investing money, keep making more, blah blah blah, blah, and that money wouldn't have found him any fulfillment.
Yeah, he was when he started his project, I don't know what it's called, but I think it's Blueprint. I think it's like something Blueprint.
Yeah,
He before he started that, he had already sold Venmo. He was actually the founder of
Oh, wow.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he sold Venmo to PayPal for like $800 million. So like he was already really, really wealthy. He could have retired and just been good for the rest of his life, right? But he wanted to do something with his life still. He um loved fitness, wanted to stay around for a while, and is now spending $2 million either a month or a day on I don't know what the number is, but on reversing his aging, which is crazy. Like it's a crazy concept to think about,
it is.
but I'm pretty sure like since he started it, he's reversed his aging by like a couple years at least, which is pretty cool. Like organically, like his organs are like a couple years younger, they're much healthier, whatever, etc. And I guess like his philosophy is you're only as old as your organs. So
Huh.
if you really think about it, like if your organs stayed the same age, like your skin and like your liver or whatever,
Yeah,
technically I don't like you can't really like
your brain.
yeah, you can't really die because if they're staying the same age, it's like you know what I mean?
That's all longevity is.
Yeah.
That's probably why you see people in like more like rural areas when they don't have modern sciences and stuff, they can still live for so long because their diet consists of such like natural whole foods that they end up not like poisoning their system with like all the whole ultra processed chemicals and
Yeah,
stuff,
right.
leading to just more longevity.
Definitely. Like my mom's grandfather lived to like 102 or something like that.
Yeah,
And they didn't even have modern medicine back then, but he
Yeah.
still I think he was a farmer or something like that
yeah,
in Czechoslovakia
Mhm.
and um yeah, I got to eat really good shit from the source from the ground, sourced from Mother Nature his entire life. So that's definitely probably a factor in why he lived so long.
Something else is well, back then there wasn't a retirement, like there wasn't like a social security retirement,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So he was forced to probably work up until like
Oh yeah, motion's the greatest healer.
yeah, up until he died. So him going to work in the fields every single day, being a farmer, doing all this stuff, it kind of forced him to stay healthy.
Yeah.
It sent like a signal to his body. I don't know enough about biology and psychology to say exactly what happened, but pretty much sent a signal to his body to keep on moving.
Hmm. He didn't stay sedentary.
Yeah.
His muscles didn't decompose as fast because he was not staying sedentary and kept moving.
Yeah, and I think we can relate that of the idea of an object in motion stays in motion to what Brian Johnson and Elon Musk are doing. So Brian Johnson, he had a massive drive to at first make money, become monetarily successful, right?
Yeah.
So let's call the motion being his like passion for life, his motivation, right?
Hmm.
So then, in order for him to stay in motion, he had to find something even bigger than that because he's already amassed so much money monetarily.
Yeah.
So something big he found was to reverse his aging, which seems absolutely like a massive, massive, massive like
It almost
problem to solve.
seems delusional, you
Yeah.
know? But I mean, like, if you really think about it, any great problem before it was solved seemed delusional. Like, I guess if you were to tell Elon Musk's mom when he was born that he would be the wealthiest man on earth and build all these great companies and stuff like that, she'd say like, okay, yeah, stop being delusional, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if not you, then who? I mean, that's what I always go by. Like, if I can't do it, then
Who will?
who's gonna? So why not just strive for the best, right?
I agree with that, and especially back going on just someone finding fulfillment. I think more where like the goal is out of reach, if the goal is like it's tangible, it's possible, or there isn't an end point, it's just a continuous realization of that. Like reversing your age, you're never gonna be able to reverse
Like
your age so significant
permanently, yeah,
permanently.
yeah.
Yeah. So he's gonna be able to always stay on this vision of improving on what he's doing, maybe tweak some things, and always just keep iterating on this goal he has to eventually find his fulfillment and his desire to have that like come to
I
life.
mean, yeah, that goes hand in hand with like what I call and what Alex Hormozy calls like the greatest games in life. You realize that the greatest games in life, health, money, business, and like marriage, the goal, like there's no end goal in marriage. The point is to stay in marriage for the rest of your life.
Mhm.
The point of health isn't to get healthy and then stop being healthy, right? It's the point is to stay healthy for the rest of your life. It's not a binary. It's a like a uh, I think like a continuum
Yeah.
type of thing where um, you stay at it for the rest of your life. It's a lifestyle change. It's or a life like a mindset change like that. That I guess um, kind of also gives you motivation for that. And you going back to what you said about um, reaching for a goal that's out of reach, almost out of reach, that almost seems impossible, is actually so I watched Andrew Huberman's goal setting episode. Shout out to Andrew Huberman. He's a neurobiologist at Stanford, and in there he was reading some scientific literature about how setting a goal that is a little bit out of reach to you is actually good for you instead of setting a goal that does seem attainable because it fires off some neurons in your brain that like actually gets you in motion. And I don't know if you've noticed that if you're like, whenever I'm in an easy class or whatever, I choose to not pay as much attention to it, and
Hmm.
because I feel like it's going to be super easy, and then all of a sudden it's like I get a C on a test because I wasn't paying attention, right? But if I'm in a hard class that I find interesting and whatever, um, I choose to pay attention more, and then ultimately get an A because I did pay attention. But like that just goes hand in hand with setting a goal that is that seems far out of reach is actually much better than setting a goal that seems extremely attainable.
That's a similar phenomenon. Not the exact same phenomenon that recently happened to my older brother Peter. He's trying to transfer to Suffolk, and he's actually gonna try to walk on the men's basketball team. And before in school, he said he was kind of unmotivated. Like he felt like no matter what he did, it wouldn't really like really make a big change in how he
Yeah.
ended up. But now he feels like he has a significantly better opportunity if he were to go to Suffolk, which is a university in Boston.
Yeah, my dad actually went there for law school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was very cool. And then so he realized he has to get better grades, work harder, just grind for both basketball and also for his GPA to get into the school. And he said like this past semester has been probably like the best semester of his life because everything's so
He's
structured.
probably so much more happier too
Yeah,
because
he
he's
is.
actually like finding fulfillment and working hard.
Yeah, has something to work for.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like I find myself whenever I'm working hard or whatever, or if I have a day that I work like 12 hours or whatever, I go to bed and I'm much happier, even though it seems so much more stressful. I'm much
Hmm.
happier at the end of the day than working in a 1 hour day, right?
Hmm.
I don't know if you notice that, but in my opinion, I find it to be so much more fulfilling. Um, actually pushing myself towards something instead of just like kind of on the like decline.
Well, the only thing that stresses me out is probably that I'm not using my time as
Hmm.
efficiently as I could. And that goes with what you just said. If I go to bed realizing I haven't done anything and I wasted my time, I just overall just go to bed more anxious, feeling like I let myself down. Like
Yeah.
I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah. I need to stack my wins. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's what you said is a really good point. If I were to grind the entire day and feel like I used all my time to its maximum capacity, I would have nothing to be ashamed about in that past
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, and that goes back actually like about stress to a quote from Jeff Bezos. I think I'm gonna butcher it, but it's something like I've said it on the podcast before, but it goes you don't or stress isn't derived from working long hours or doing anything like that, but it's derived from not doing something that you have control over. So on the flip side, you take away stress or the way to not get stressed is by actually doing the shit that you know you have control over that you know you need to be doing. And so I mean that just all goes hand in hand together. And I think that's a great lesson to
Yeah.
learn, especially earlier in life, because you might not have the clarity to be like, okay, why am I so stressed out? It really just delves down to doing the shit that you know you need to get done.
Yeah. We can probably honestly segue into what we were talking about with Elon Musk,
Mhm.
to where he reached actual completion of like a monetary goal. Because
Yeah.
the whole thing is he never really had a goal like that.
Yeah.
He always thought he was a visionary. He always thought way bigger than money.
Mhm.
And I believe his visions that's past money is the thing that have propelled him to make so much money.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching Tom Bilyeu. I was telling you this about before the podcast, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. That's the I purchased Tom Bilyeu's course. He's the founder of Quest Nutrition. He sold it for $1 billion.
Yeah.
And now he has a community called Impact Theory where he teaches and gives courses about like mindset and business and stuff like that. And literally, the first video in the business series is why you need a why instead of just monetarily. It needs to be something bigger, something greater for like the greater good of the world, of society, and whatever. Because that internally is what's going to motivate you to get you through the hard times instead of money. Because studies actually show that money is not. It's actually quite low on the totem pole for motivation, and the highest thing out there is having a reason why. Like humans want a reason why to live.
Yeah.
Right. Like I mean, I think it's true that money doesn't solve, or money isn't the secret to happiness, right? Or whatever that quote is. And it's having a passion and actually striving towards something that's hard to attain, but will uh, impact the world for a greater good in your eyes.
I think that's something that happens with humans a lot, where they'll put an input, like do work, and they'll get a outcome that's only an objective outcome.
Mhm.
They're in school, they study, they get test grade. That's an objective outcome. So there's not obviously like you can think, oh, a 90 is good for me, but 100 is the exact same all across the board.
Yeah.
And with money, with this amount of work, you get this amount of money.
Mhm.
And no matter how much money that is, it's going to be the same to everyone. Sure, there's some relativity and stuff, but it's going to be the same. But the subjectivity of like someone's goals and their desires is why I think makes like their journey so much more personalized, and it gives them meaning.
Mhm.
It's not the same meaning for everyone else. It's their own personal meaning.
Mhm.
And I think that idea of like individuality in a human is something that can really help to propel them. That they're on their own journey that's separate from other people.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's everyone wants to be extraordinary. No one wants to be like the person next to them. They want to be their own individual self. And so, by creating your own journey, it's a great way to become your own individual self and have your own identity. I mean, making you, by default, a strong person,
Yeah.
having your own identity, whatever, et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, yeah, um, totally agree. And I don't get how people can shit on people like that are striving for the greater good.
I agree.
I mean, I think it's just like I mean, people ahead of you or people above you don't shit on you, right? Um, um. So
I feel like especially with respect, I can always respect someone that is aspiring for something,
Mhm.
even if they're fucking terrible at it.
Yeah.
Like, let's say a kid's fucking sucks at playing sports, sucks at playing football, and they're working really hard to play football, right?
Yeah.
And they work 24/7, 24/7.
basketball.
Or basketball. Like, they're not very good, but they're still working very, very hard because it's a passion that they like and gets them out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
Even if they don't get like great results, the fact that they're still applying themselves to that craft, it's very, very admirable.
Mhm.
Because it's a quality that is going to be transferred over throughout their entire life.
Mhm.
Be able to work for something meaningful to you, I would say it's one of the only ways to find meaning. Because there's people, we talked about this in our past podcast, talk about nihilism, where sometimes people will be like, "Oh, life has no meaning, so nothing fucking matters."
Yeah.
They'll either take this like being really depressed, or take this to do fucking outrageous shit.
Yeah.
But what similar to what Brian said, you can think like that, or you can think since you don't really have any like, if you believe you have like some greater calling,
Mhm.
you need to find your own calling, find your own meaning of life, and figure out what that meaning is, and build towards that meaning to get your fulfillment and almost separate yourself from all the other fish in the ocean.
Yeah.
So I tweeted about this recently. It's about the idea of fitness and how much you can iterate on it. Because at first, I would say I was very, very, very focused almost on the bodybuilding aspect of fitness. And
Oh my gosh, yeah, me too. I wanted to inject all the steroids in the world and just be the biggest person I can.
that was only you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was looking for the quick way out. But I mean, I kind of realize now that um why I still choose to train is for my future self and to be the healthiest person I possibly can. I actually got that from Brian Johnson. Um, Instead of like he doesn't do bodybuilding at all. He's just trying to become the healthiest person he can. And then also being healthy like that and eating the right foods and training the right way, et cetera, et cetera. Actually, I don't know the biology behind it, but it makes you feel so much better and makes you feel so much more alive and ambitious to actually push towards your goals and whatever. Um, so
I
yeah.
think that could also, I think a portion of that can be boiled down to a point earlier to where if you're using your muscles, it sends a signal to your brain to keep going.
Yeah.
But what I was more saying is the other aspects of fitness, like me want to become more athletic to increase my mobility, like increase like the alignment of my body and make it better. Like for example, like I noticed I didn't have good ankle mobility, and that was limiting the way I could run and the way I could perform other exercises. So now I'm able to work on that. Like the strength of my tendons. I've been doing a lot of isometrics and stuff to get blood flow to the area and strengthen the tendons. And overall, just looking at myself and you figure out where all your weak points are and continuously iterate on those time after time after time.
Yeah, that goes with the theory that I learned in Las Vegas actually. It's
What?
called the theory of constraints, where you so think of yourself or
Yep.
well, I got taught in this like in a business sense,
Mhm.
like so think of yourself or think of your business as a chain.
Talk about it as a business because that's probably
Okay.
makes more sense.
Yeah. So think of your business as like a chain, like a metal chain. The chain is only as strong as its weakest link. So like if all the chains, like all the what the fuck are they called?
Links.
Yeah, all the links in the chain, if 9 out of 10 of them are extremely strong and can withhold 1,000,000 pounds, right? But one of them can only hold 1,000 pounds. It's only as strong as its weakest link, so the chain can only hold 1,000 pounds. And so, I mean, with that fitness example that you were saying, it's like your body is only as strong as your weakest link. So look at your weak points and keep building on your weak points. And eventually, those tiny bullets that you create, or like there's no silver bullet, it's all just like staying consistent and building those tiny little bronze bullets in yourself is what creates you into a complete person. What creates your business into a complete business by solving all of these little problems in each area instead of focusing on the strengths. Yeah, it's good to focus on the strengths, but if you have a weakness on one side, then that's going to hinder your business or yourself severely. For example, like if you don't hit legs, it's going to hinder your it's going to hinder your body severely. So you need to work on all aspects of it to be able to keep on growing it sufficiently.
I kind of relate that directly to fitness. For example, for me, I had some quadricep tendonitis, right?
Mhm.
So getting down like that squat position, probably around like 90 degrees would hurt. So my squat, let's say my muscles have the capacity to squat like 315 pounds, 350 pounds, whatever it is, how much I squat. I haven't been able to do that because I'm in season. But I can't do that because my tendons have to be strong enough. My tendon right there, which is at that point my weakest link, is hindering the performances of all my other muscles.
So you can't hit all your muscles completely
Exactly.
to failure.
And like you said, the chain is only as strong as its weakest link.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's also like a good frame to think about when kind of doing anything is focusing on the weak points, because those weak points, like all right, I'm going to use another business example.
Yeah.
So say you're like, if you were in sales or whatever, and you were booking appointments, and your booking appointment percentage was at 80%, and your closing percentage was at 10%. The marginal gain, and say if you were to go from 80 booking 80% of booking points to 90, from instead of focusing on your closing percentage and turning that from 10% into 20%, that marginal gain is like exponentially greater than if you were to focus gaining 10% on the booking appointments, right?
Yeah.
Like that's only a 9% marginal gain. And this is an 100% marginal gain from 10 to 20. So if you think about it like that, just looking at your weak points, it's a good way to kind of figure out and exponentiate your growth.
Also be able to like consistently find those weak points.
Mhm.
Because if you're only having this like troubleshooting like every once in a while, you're gonna find those weak links at such a slower rate.
Mhm.
And I think that's a big thing with, especially when you have a business, being able to consistently find what you're doing wrong and improve on that, so you can improve how well your business performs and the efficiency of that,
Yeah.
and also yourself as a body. If you're if you're only doing something to like increase the size of your muscles, only go to the gym once a week, it's like, oh, like maybe my entire body's a weak point or something like that. Versus going like 5 days a week, the results you get and your ability to iterate is just going to be so much more diminished over time.
Yeah, definitely.
Is that it's kind of a similar thing that you've talked to me about cold outreach.
Mhm.
If someone does 10 a day to 10 cold outreaches a day for a month, that's only what, 300?
Yeah, 300. Besides, if you were to do 100 a day,
That's
I'm only counting hundreds. Yeah,
That's 3,000.
it's 3,000. That marginal difference is so much greater than the 300 to 3,000.
And the whole thing is the work isn't that much different.
No,
It's just doing
doing the hard shit.
more work every single day
Yeah, exactly.
and just being consistent.
I mean, and that's what I find. If you're in business, that's what I find fulfilling, is actually doing the work and
doing the little shit.
yeah. And that's also what needs to get done to be able to be successful. Like if you look at two people, someone that doesn't do that and someone that does do it, obviously the person that does do it is going to win. And it's all in the realm of the world. It's all relative to your peer. So if your peer is willing to do it, and if you're not willing to do it, you're going to fail.
I like to talk about the chain theory, or the theory of constraints that
Yeah.
you're talking about, because once again, Elon Musk is a great example of this, because he's trying to figure out what his weak points are in like his businesses,
And also in the
himself,
world,
his
too.
world. Like you can see him wanting to buy Twitter and fix it to make it more freedom of speech, because that's.
But then he's also on the other realm of going to fucking Mars, because he doesn't know what it's going to look like in the future for the Earth, right?
Yeah.
So it's like he's looking at all the weakest links in the world, which is kind of crazy, because I have a theory of just focusing on one thing at a single time, because that's where your attention will go, and by having more attention on that one thing, you'll be able to grow exponentially faster than if you had all your attention scattered between a bunch of different places. But I mean, he's also in the position to be able to hire thousands of people at one time to be able to like control what.
Well, you could also say that the one thing he's focusing on is just the greater good of humanity.
When you put it like that, yeah, that makes sense.
And it's so his theory of constraints is probably based off what humanity needs to survive and thrive, and at least his viewpoint. He's probably more conservative on that side, so I think it'd probably be more in line with some of those ideas. But also, it's more objective stuff, like what happens if the Earth gets all fucked up, overpopulation. Like, does Elon Musk believe in climate change? He must, right?
No fucking idea.
Well, whatever. But that's why he's preparing Mars, just in case of a worst case scenario.
Yeah.
He's almost just preparing all the weak points in humanity and trying to almost just make them stronger. So eventually,
That also goes,
humanity will be stronger.
yeah, it goes back to the if not you, then who? Right?
Yeah.
Like that's what he thought. So like he took it into his own hands, into his own control, and I mean maybe he got a lot of stress out of someone not figuring it out. So he took it into his own control and actually did the shit that he could do. And yeah,
I bet you he's gonna be the first trillionaire very soon.
probably.
I mean, he's what? He's 300 bill.
Yeah, around there, around 300 bill. I mean,
How much would? How,
especially with Neuralink, bro. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that's gonna be crazy. Cause like you'll be able to. I mean, I don't know if I want that thing in my brain, but like
You,
Like you'll literally be Google and you'll be able to know everything at once that has ever existed.
the creepy part about that is I think it's gonna get to a point to where even if you're kind of rejecting it and you're saying, "Oh, this is fucking terrible. I want to be controlled. I need to change my brain." Let's get to the point to where like the competition in the job market, the competition with your peers, if they
Yeah.
have it, you're so much further behind
Oh,
that's
exponential. Like yeah,
that you're just you as a person is just negligible. Like there's no reason for you because you
yeah.
won't be able to add any value to the workforce.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean that I was talking to you before this podcast about that. I think it just comes down to like him controlling it because
Regulating it
or
almost.
regulating it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that because it's meant to solve like neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, dementia, actually blindness too.
Oh.
Your eyes are actually a part of your brain.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, it's like that part of your brain isn't like able to like.
I don't really know what it is,
Yeah.
but I read that too. And so being able to like control it in that setting that it's made to what it's made to help out for is probably what I think he should do. Obviously, like take it with a grain of salt, right? Just an 18-year-old, but
Yeah.
and he's Elon Musk, but yeah, I mean it does seem a little bit scary. But hopefully hopefully he does it for the greater good.
Yeah. Like,
You know?
that's something scary because he has the capacity to be like Lex Luthor. You know who Lex Luthor is?
No, I don't.
So he's like a billionaire from Superman that ends up becoming like Superman's like arch rival.
Oh, yeah.
Because like he has so much money to just like make himself like a super suit and like fight Superman.
Okay. Yeah.
So see, there's so many different ideas of what he could be doing.
Yeah.
He could be like making his own independent like all this money he has, so he can like almost like combat like government and stuff like that, and just be like his own independent person.
Mm,
Or he's trying to,
like Kanye West.
or he's trying to like conquer everything and make so much money and fucking
I mean, that's what happens to people
just
though. Like,
monopolize humanity.
yeah, that's what happens to people though. Is that like so like there's three. There was a study done and it was trying to solve like the commonalities between billionaires, and there was three main traits that they found.
What?
It was a God complex, so thinking that they're better than everyone else.
Yeah.
And then on the opposite, crippling insecurity,
Yeah.
which is thinking that they're never going to be good enough.
Yeah.
And then number three, impulse control, so they're able to stick to one thing. But the reason I'm saying that is
Like
because,
they have impulse control.
yeah, yeah. But the reason I'm saying that is like um, those are the commonalities between billionaires. So like maybe one billionaire, if he had that opportunity to be able to control the world, he would do it like viciously and evil like, right? But then there's also another one that hopefully Elon Musk is doing it for the greater good. But with those commonalities, it's like um, never thinking you're good enough, so you want to keep striving for more and keep having more and more and more and more control, right?
Mhm.
Which is, I mean, a scary topic to think about because if someone is ultimately monopolized over the whole world, it's like they can do anything they want and also still won't find fulfillment because they'll still have that crippling insecurity inside. And so potentially do something for evil, which is like something that probably shouldn't think about. But
I think it's just no way, you know.
yeah. But I mean, you never know with AI and all that shit, right?
That's what I'm saying. But I think probably the worst thing that could happen is so he has the satellites,
Yeah.
he's got the cars, the Neuralink. Like there's an organization that ends up finding a way to hack all of these. And like
Actually, like, have you ever heard of? You know what's happening right now with like AT&T?
what happened?
There's like massive outages
Is there hacking?
yeah, from Chinese hackers.
Really?
Yeah, they're hacking into like all the AT&T and Verizon cell towers and shutting them all down.
Why?
I don't know. I think there was like some sort of security breach and they're like stealing a bunch of information. Chinese Communist Party. And but then also like causing a bunch of like war, like kind of like internal conflict here because of it. And so I don't know. My mind goes to a bunch of different places. So maybe they're just trying to distract us before they do something else or whatever, you know. But yeah, that's happening right now, which is also pretty scary. But it just like AT&T is such a big corporation. They probably have such big cybersecurity teams behind them, but they were still able to get hacked into, right?
So
So it's like,
if that get breached, then what's stopping the Neuralink from being
yeah,
breached?
exactly. Like imagine if someone that was evil or something like that hacked into a Neuralink and was able to control the entire population,
Entire
right?
population, and there's a giant zombie outbreak. That's immediately what I think of.
I know. Our brains always goes to the worst.
I thought of like The Walking Dead. Like there'll be like a group of like 10 people that didn't get the Neuralink, and then there's the rest of the population that got the Neuralink,
Yeah.
and they're just being controlled and being like
Have you ever watched the movie fuck, what's it called? Bird Watch?
Bird Box.
Bird Box, yeah. It's like that.
Yeah,
Everyone looks into the mist and then turns into fucking them killing themselves or whatever.
yeah. Or they just fucking go after you and try to like
Yeah.
implant that shit in your brain.
Yeah, no, that actually, that conversation reminded me of another good tactic that I like to use whenever I'm trying to solve a hard problem, which was I always notice that our brains always go to the worst and are actually really good at finding problems in our lives.
Yeah.
Like if you really think about it, we're really good. We're about finding problems. Like, oh, my leg's hurting, whatever, 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 and it's much harder for us to find the good in gratitude in life. In life. And so, Albert Einstein, I think, came up with this, but it was popularized by Charlie Munger, R.I.P. He was
Rip.
he was Warren Buffett's partner, big investor of Berkshire Hathaway. And it's called inversion thinking, where if you have a hard problem, always invert. That's what Albert Einstein said. So basically, what it is, say the problem was, I wanted to get a good body, right? What are the top 5 things or whatever that you would have to do to be able to not get a good body? And then just do the inverse of that. So, for example, with the body example I gave, what are the top 5 things that I would have to do to not get a good body? Sit on the couch all day, not move, eat like shit, etc., and just invert that. So keep moving, don't eat like shit, eat good foods, right? Go to the gym, etc., etc. And usually, if you can boil it down to one thing, that's usually the North Star of what you should not do, and flip that, and that becomes the North Star of what you should do. So, yes, take that with a grain of salt, but that's just another thing that I like to do when trying to solve a hard problem. Is invert, always invert.
So let's say, for example, you couldn't get to sleep, right? Let's say, for example, you couldn't get to sleep. Let's do some inversion thinking. So, what would you wait? Fuck. All right, you take it.
Okay, let's say I couldn't sleep. I wouldn't use mouth tape.
I couldn't. Yeah, I probably wouldn't use mouth tape. I probably wouldn't use sport sleep tape. Code Rogue 15. I'll probably mouth breathe. Go on my phone before bed.
Not wear my blue.
Not wear my blue light blocking glasses. Look at my phone before bed, and take a freezing cold shower right before bed just to make sure my adrenaline's pumping.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, speaking of cold showers, I saw something online where it's like it's actually not good to take cold showers after your workout because it restricts blood flow
Yeah.
to the muscles that you're trying to grow.
Yeah.
And so it's actually much more beneficial taking a cold shower
Before
you work out because it also gets your adrenaline pumping and gives you more dopamine. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I saw somewhere that taking a cold shower or like a cold plunge or something like that, it gives you the equivalent amount of dopamine across a much longer time path. I think the interval is like 8 hours.
Yeah.
Gives you the same amount of dopamine
It's
as
true.
cocaine.
It
Which
just
is-
was.
Yeah, I know. I think I actually heard Andrew Huberman say that. Which is crazy to think about, but like, I don't know, like I noticed a huge dopamine increase, a huge ambition increase, and just motivation increase right after I take a cold shower. I want to conquer the world and whatever. So that's also another good tool to use if you're feeling unmotivated is by taking a cold plunge or a cold shower, something like that.
Yeah, that's definitely something with the hypertrophy and not wanting to take a cold shower after you work out.
Yeah.
Because you're just, let's say you just got a crazy fucking pump.
Yeah.
All your muscles pumping with nutrients, pumping with blood. You take a cold shower, it's just gonna,
Yeah, it's not gonna be pumping as hard.
no.
Yeah, exactly. So don't take a cold shower after you work out, take it before.
Oh, going back to the idea of sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to the inversion thinking. If I were to sleep bad, what would I do? Probably not wear gloves and socks. You know why?
Why?
Because when you wear gloves and socks to bed, what happens is is your appendages are hot,
Mhm.
so your core body temperature ends up dropping to try to like cool down your hands.
Mhm.
And when you go to sleep, you actually need like a 1 to 2 degree body temperature drop.
Mhm. I mean that explains why I sleep. I used to sleep with my AC at like 50.
Yeah, that
Which
makes
is
sense.
crazy. But yeah, and I mean I think I heard that it's the inverse for when you wake up, you want your core body temperature to
Yeah.
increase.
And that's why when you take a cold shower, or one of the reasons why you feel more motivated because the outside of your body gets so cold
Mhm.
that the inside of your body heats up.
Because all your blood is pumping through your body.
Yeah.
It's trying to get to every
Yeah.
single spot at once. Yeah.
And me being tall, I was talking to someone about this. Me being tall actually makes my blood flow worse because it's to circulate through such a large like system
Mhm.
that I'll probably end up like compared to you. Obviously, there's a lot of other variables, but let's say me and you live the exact same life. Like I'd probably have a lower life expectancy because my blood can't pump through all my appendages and stuff. Like sometimes I'll be in the cold and I'll come inside, my hands will just be numb.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
you know, so my hands are always
Yeah.
freezing cold.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's why.
There's definitely ways to go about that though.
Yeah, no, there is. It's like no, that's just one variable. If I'm living a healthy life, it won't be that big of a deal. Yeah.
Yeah, wearing some sports sleep tape on your mouth while you go to bed will help with your CO2 levels.
Yeah, that's how you CO2 max.
Yeah, and create more oxygen flow through your blood.
All
I
right, guys.
think that was a great
Yeah,
episode.
thank you for watching.
That was a great episode.
Great episode.
Like and subscribe and use code Rogue15 at Sports Sleep Tape.
Yeah,
Check out.
use it.
Yeah, thank you for watching.
Hey, let's use fire.